the Trinity conversation, the D3 conversation as a whole that we had 10 months ago was so valuable. And you highlighted it before, but I can't let it go kind of like, past this too quickly. But just 17 rowers coming in, right? Like 17 awesome rowers coming in who are going to be joining your roster in some capacity, right? Some are probably greater, or more experienced at a state than others. Some come from big programs, some come from small programs. Like, just very, very high level. What does that look like, right? Of those 17 rowers, meaning like if there is an athlete who wants to be a bantam, right? If there is an athlete who is interested in Trinity and the prospect of winning a national championship one day, well, you have 17 athletes coming in. Like, what does that, just from a broad range, like, what does that look like, right? Who are these kids in the sense of like, we have some kids who I'm sure are coming from really well-developed programs, rowed for 4 years. We have other kids who are probably more development. Paint that picture for younger athletes who are maybe looking for alternative schools to look out for and keep in mind, and, speaking for Trinity, but also the entire NESCAC.
Yeah. Our guys, it's definitely a big range of experience levels. Guys have been rowing 4 or 5 years, guys who got into the sport a year and a half ago. I think the thing that unifies them, they all displayed a propensity to commit to training, to be excited about making themselves better, and displayed that not just via the recruiting process, but since being accepted. Many of them were accepted in early Decision 1 and have been communicating PRs and good race results and things like that. We are not, and I don't think any varsity athletics program would consider themselves a participation program. This is not a team to join because you like being on the water in a boat, period. This is a team to join because you like being on the water in a boat, working hard to better yourself daily. And it's a team to join because you know that the winter is going to happen, and you know you're not going to be able to get on the water, and you don't loathe the erg. You look forward to the simplicity the erg grants you in giving you consistent feedback to make yourself better, without it being altered by the environment. You don't know how fast you're going on the Connecticut River in the spring when it's flooded. You do know how fast you're going on the erg. Always. It's not going to lie to you. It's a very good friend. Good friends are honest. Erg should be your best friend. So like when kids reach out, and this hasn't happened in a couple years, which has been nice, but I've had guys be like, yeah, I don't really like erging. I'm just like, man, I don't think if you want to be a collegiate varsity rower, that's not going to work. So again, it comes to the like lifestyle and like vision of what you want. If you want to be a collegiate rower, you've got to make peace with the erg and learn to embrace it. You need to understand that technique alone does not win races. And that's kind of what we think about in the recruitment process. It's like, okay, maybe your erg is not 620, but maybe you're also a guy who's only rowed in the spring at your school, and we have conversations with you and we learn about your habits around training, around your sports, around your academic life, around your leadership life at school, etc. And we're like, oh no, you have the necessary foundation to come here, be given a little bit of instruction and guidance on what direction to go, and then you're going to take off and you're going to go that direction. That is ultimately what we are looking for, because we can work with that. I don't think you can work with somebody who happens to be very naturally talented and can sneeze on the erg and go 612, but doesn't actually have intrinsic motivation to be successful for whatever reason, and isn't interested in learning ways in which they can get better. So there is there's speed requirements, there's horsepower requirements. Those are all loose based on the character. And I think the important thing to note is we're not necessarily looking for different character values than a Division One program. And I think I've had this conversation with a good number of people, less so recruits recently, but I don't want kids to think that Division III rowing has a lighter expectation on being the best you can be compared to Division I rowing. The differences are in the structure. In Division III athletics in general, you are not going to compromise academics for athletics very often, if at all. In Division I athletics, and we can separate the revenue generating sports from the non-revenue generating sports for the purposes of this conversation. You will have to make some sacrifices and accommodations for your academics in favor of your athletics sometimes. Like, they have the big Sarasota invite in the end of March for the Division I programs. Those guys have to miss a day or two of school to go do that. Division III rowing, that's not really going to happen. That's kind of the difference. In my mind, you might miss some class a little bit more. In our entire academic year, we asked the guys to miss one day of class. It's the Friday before Connect Cup. Like that, like easy, like bang, like it's right there. And that's pretty unchanging. We don't want that, like they don't have academic, they can't schedule their classes early. Like they schedule their classes with the rest of the student body. That's different from most, I would imagine, Division I programs where they have early class registrations to accommodate the practice schedule. Again, that's a difference. So if people are looking at Division III and they're like, oh, cool, I can just like get in a boat and like be kind of healthy and be kind of fit and not train that hard, but like train hard enough that like I feel okay about it and I'm not totally out of shape. That's not really what the mission and vision of that aspect of the NCAA is for. It's for people who don't want to necessarily make accommodations for their academics in favor of athletics. I don't want to miss class. I want to be the best athlete I can be, but I don't want to miss class. That's, to me, what Division III is. There's no scholarships for athletics, so that changes things. Not a ton for men's rowing, but certainly for women's rowing. So that is a very different piece of the puzzle. You might be asked to have a little bit less time commitment for practice in a week where you're being coached, and you certainly have that baked into the structure of the winter off season. But championship level speed is championship level speed, and it requires championship level preparation, period. And the last few years of Division III men's rowing, if it's indicated anything, it's like we're going really fast. And so if you want to go really fast, you can certainly go to a Division I program and go really fast. You can also go to a Division III program and go really fast. And it's going to be different for everybody. But I think the thing for people to know, it's like going fast has a cost. And you cannot haggle. There is no bargaining. It takes what it takes. And so I don't think anybody looks at Division III rowing as less than. If they do, I think that's silly. And that's a them problem. But for athletes trying to decide in what manner they wish to engage with the sport as they look at college, I would encourage individuals not to see Division III as an easier option or an option that will require less.